Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing a very exciting video for me, and we are just going to be talking all about my autumn TBR. So these are the books I will be mainly reading in September and October, but also probably a little bit into November, because thinking about it, there is a lot of books here. But I have kind of tried to separate them out into different genres. However, for me, autumn is very much a fantasy time. For me, that's my favourite genre to read during the autumn time. So most of these books here are fantasy, but there's varying degrees of fantasy and the vibes within that. If you watched my summer wing video, you would have known that I watched Practical Magic, which is to me the epitome of autumn and Halloween time and everything fun like that. And I have been trying to get into the series, so I did read the first book a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago, I'm not too sure. But in the autumn time, I definitely want to just finish off the rest of the series. There's 3 more books to read, and if you know Practical Magic, then this will make sense to you. But one of the books is about the aunts, the other's about Maria, and then one of them is about the daughters in the movie. I don't know which one's which. I'm not really sure. Okay, I think Magic Lessons is about Maria. I think The Rules of Magic is about the sisters. No, sorry, the aunts. And then I believe the Book of Magic is about the sisters. I think. I'm not really too sure, but I definitely want to get through these. These just have the perfect cozy vibes. Even though the first book, Practical Magic, was quite different to the film with Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock, I still really enjoyed the vibes and like the atmosphere that it brought, and so I think I'll still definitely enjoy the rest of the series. So can't wait to get to these ones. Yeah, the next books are the Shadow and Bone series. These are actually back to front. There we go. Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising. And I don't know why, but these just give me autumnal vibes. Firstly, obviously, because they are just fantasy, and fantasy just works in autumn unlike any other season. It just works. But also, I believe I read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom around the autumn time, so I feel like for me, Leigh Bardugo just has that sort of energy now of being books that you kind of read in that time. And I never actually really got into the TV series, and I think it's because I just didn't understand any of the Shadow and Bone elements of the series. So I definitely think once I have read these, I will be watching the TV show after the autumn as well. So I want to get around to these sooner rather than later. Now, to break it up a little bit, there is a couple of classics that I want to get my hands on and just start reading, and then it also plays into a new purchase that I got recently. But the first one is The Great Gatsby by Scott Fitzgerald. Bit of a tongue twister, but yeah, I definitely want to get around to The Great Gatsby. I think this one probably for me has vibes more to the end of October, early November, I think is when I want to pick this one up. But it's just a classic, you know, literally, but also like just in literature, it's just a staple, I feel like, to understand other works of literature as well. So it's definitely one I want to get around to. And I have watched the film. I don't know if it really has anything to do with autumn, but it's just giving me those vibes more so than summer. I mean, they are in swimming costumes on the front, so maybe I'm a bit off the mark with this one, but for me personally, this is a book that I want to pick up in the autumn time. And then I don't have a physical copy of it, but I'll put it here. I really want to read Macbeth, and that definitely has October spooky vibes to it, as does a lot of Shakespeare, to be honest. But I really want to get around to that one, and obviously it'll be super quick because it's a play, so in theory I shouldn't, you know, take more than a day to get through it because it's meant to be performed all in one go. But that is definitely because I recently purchased Lady Macbeth, and this is the gorgeous Waterstones signed exclusive version. Let me just show you guys. Teeny tiny little signature there. I mean, that's crazy, but I really want to read this soon. I'm so eager to pick this up, but I definitely feel like I need to read Macbeth in order to understand this, or to be truly, like, I don't know, just aware and perceptive of everything that's going on in this book. So I definitely will be picking up Macbeth soon so that I can read Lady Macbeth, because I think they'll just play really nicely into one another, reading them back to back as well. So yes, this obviously isn't a classic, but Macbeth definitely is. And so that will be super fun to get into eventually. And then back to some fantasy, of course. This is more of like a cozy vibe, at least to me and what I've seen. So I have 3 books here. 2 are by Erin Morgenstern, so I really want to read The Starless Sea and The Night Circus. I have heard that these are just really beautiful, lyrical, just stunning writing by Erin Morgenstern, and I've always been intrigued, and I've just heard nothing but great things about both of these books. And yeah, I just definitely want to pick them up soon, because like I follow a few YouTubers, and for one of them, The Starless Sea was her favourite book of the whole year last year, and that just, obviously makes me really, really intrigued. And I do think I will love it. I've just been putting it off for so long, especially The Night Circus I've owned for a couple years now. I did only pick up The Starless Sea this year, I think, but I do need to get around to both of these. And then kind of in my brain, a similar field fantasy would be The Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. This is just like kind of the same vibes as Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. It's kind of a world in which dragons are real, and our main character kind of studies them, I believe, in like a scientific aspect. So that sounds really intriguing, and even just by the cover, the vibes will just work perfectly in autumn as opposed to really hot summer. Right now I'm literally dying. So hot. I'll be okay. And then, as we all know, because I feel like I keep talking about it, I want to read some V.E. Schwab this year, and I do think, again, her books would just play perfectly into autumn. So I have already read Vicious, so I'd like to get round to Vengeful. I've read A Dark Shade of Magic, so I want to read A Gathering of Shadows. I believe this is the second one. And then also The Near Witch is another one I own by V.E. Schwab that I just want to get around to soon. I don't have too many thoughts on these. It's just an author that I've wanting to continue. No, what? I've been wanting to continue, and I just feel like autumn is the perfect time to do that. So we'll definitely be getting around to some V.E. Schwab this autumn. And then we'll break up the fantasy a little bit again, and of course I think murder mysteries and thrillers and crime books and everything like that work perfectly in October. They really bring the spooky vibes. So I have a few here, but then there's 2 other honourable mention authors, which I just want to pick up in general a little bit more. But the first book is Anatomy, a Love Story by Sana Schwartz. And this is just like, I believe it's set in the Victorian time, and she kind of wants to be a doctor, and she likes dissecting bodies and learning about the human body in that way, but it's in a time period where that is not legal for her to do as a woman, and obviously just not outside of doctor jurisdiction as well. But she can't be a doctor because she's a woman, so I think it's about her and this guy kind of working together to do that. That's kind of my rough understanding of this book, and I definitely think I will enjoy it, and the cover is stunning, and I love anything that's set in Victorian times, which smoothly segues me over to the Victoria Speedwell books. This one specifically is A Perilous Undertaking. You guys have seen me read the first 2 books in this series over on my channel in various different videos, and I love this. This just follows Victoria, this just follows Veronica Speedwell and then what's his name? Stoker. And they're just, you know, solving mysteries together in Victorian England, and it's such a fun concept, and I love these books. This is the last copy I have in the UK editions, and the other books don't come in UK editions, so I may be picking up the rest of the series on Kindle, I do not know. However, I love this series so much, and I love these characters, and I cannot wait to delve back into it during the autumn time. And then a classic, you know, I believe these are thrillers, is obviously Gillian Flynn, and I want to read Gone Girl and Sharp Objects this autumn time. I just think, yeah, they'll work perfectly, and I've heard good things about both of these, and if I like these, then I'll pick up some of her other books as well. And then honourable mentions for this, you know, genre. I want to read some Riley Sager books. I'll put a few around me. I've just heard, honestly, some mixed reviews, but I have heard that he's a good, you know, thriller author, and I want to read more of that. And then, of course, I keep talking about how I read a book by Lisa Jewell a couple weeks ago, and I loved it, and I definitely want to read a few more of her books because it was phenomenal. Okay, last little stint, guys. This is definitely a shorter video, but I have just a few more fantasy books that I wanted to talk about. So the first is Ruthless Vows. I did read, what's it called? Divine Rivals last December. I read it in December, not last December, just the most recent one. And I did really enjoy it, and it had really cozy vibes, and that's why I just think Ruthless Vows would work really well in like September, getting into those more cozy autumnal, you know, vibes. I just think it will be perfect. A lovely little cozy duology ending, you know. I just think it will work really well. And then I've been dying to read some actual published Olivia Blake after I read her Hermione fanfic last year. I loved it, and I loved her writing style, so I just think I will love her books. And I've heard that the Atlas 6 series, I only have the first two, but I'm aware there's others, or at least one more. Yeah, this is kind of that dark academia vibes, which I just think will be perfect for, again, the autumn. I feel like I sound like a broken record. Obviously, I think all of these books will work well for autumn, but yeah, the dark academia vibes mixed with the fantasy of the Atlas 6 series will just be perfect, and I cannot wait to get into it. And then I also think, you know, all fantasy is good for the autumn time, but high fantasy especially is just those vibes. Like, think Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, like the segue from October into November, I feel like is the perfect time for all of these books. So I have a few of those here. Again, not to sound like a broken record, but Brandon Sanderson will just be perfect, and I am gonna get round to him, I promise. But specifically, The Final Empire is high on my to-read list, especially for the autumn time. It's, yeah, just the high fantasy. Imagine like it's raining outside, you've got some candles lit, you're in your bed and you're reading some Brandon Sanderson in like early October. That just sounds like a dream to me, and I think it will be perfect, 100%. And then, like I said, I did mention The Lord of the Rings. I am already partway through The Hobbit, and then I of course want to read The Lord of the Rings as well. I actually have the bind up of all of them, so it is just The Lord of the Rings, but obviously all three parts are in here. The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and then what's the last one called, guys? I don't even remember. Sirens, but the last book is called The Return of the King. So all three are in here, obviously unrealistic that I'm going to get to all the books I've already shown you and all three of these, but I would love to make a dent into this bind up, specifically The Fellowship of the Ring, get close to finishing that by the end of the autumn time, because yeah, The Lord of the Rings is just perfect. Again, candles, it's raining, it's like a cozy evening in October, and you whip out Lord of the Rings. I mean, does anything sound more perfect? I don't think it does. So I will get round to this. Not all of them, I wish, but also finishing up The Hobbit, and finally making some progress with my Tolkien reads. Then I have A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, of course. I actually didn't grab it, but more specifically I want to read Fire and Blood and really learn the whole Targaryen backstory. That is what really intrigues me, but I definitely want to just read all of, well, Mr. George R.R. Martin has not released all of them. No, series still isn't finished. You know, it finished the TV series about 6 years ago, but we're still going with the books, and we haven't had any books for years. But nonetheless, I know how the show ends, even if that was not George R.R. Martin's intended ending. I do know how it ends, so I feel like I have the closure, and I'm willing to start the books, even though the books aren't finished. But I also think I'll get new editions and sell this one, and get all like a whole matching set, because these editions are kind of hard to find. My mum got this edition, I think in W.H. Smith, years ago, probably in like 2017, 2018, and so I never see these covers anywhere. I always see all the other ones, and it would match my Fire and Blood. but definitely want to get to Game of Thrones. As you may or may not know, I don't know how much I talk about it, but I've actually seen all of Game of Thrones 3 times over. I loved it. I've rewatched it, you know, as I've just said, a few times. I'm loving House of the Dragon. I am behind. I got scared and I stopped watching because I was just like, I'm terrified of it ending. Obviously, there is going to be another season, but, or hopefully it gets renewed for another season. It left on a cliffhanger, I know that much. I do have yet to finish the series of House of the Dragon, but I just love Game of Thrones. I love it so, so, so much. And like I said, high fantasy is just perfect for the autumn, and so will this be. And then my final high fantasy series that I do want to get into, although maybe I'm dipping my fingers in too many pies, because this is a lot of different high fantasy worlds, but Robin Hobb is obviously known for her impeccable, amazing high fantasy stories, and I just want to start getting into them, and slowly, you know, it won't be quick. It will probably take me a while to gradually get through them all, but I definitely do want to read The Assassin's Apprentice. I bought this last year. I think I did show it in a video, but it's an old video, so you don't have to go watch it. It was terrible quality. But I have owned this for a while, coming up to a year, and I really just want to get through it and get into the whole world that is Robin Hobb. And finally, I saved the best for last, and what I've been most excited for, and I actually want your guys' opinion in the comments if you've made it this far, but I want to reread Twilight. Did I just say reread? Reread Twilight this autumn. I mean, definitely more to the end, early November, I think is more of the Twilight vibes. It's kind of a transitional book from autumn into winter, in my personal opinion, and I really want to reread them. So, I do have a video planned with this. I want to do a spoiler-filled Twilight reading vlog. Now, do you want it to be slightly shorter and I just read Twilight, and then potentially I can continue and it can be kind of a series where I read one book per video filled with spoilers? Or would you prefer a slightly longer video and slightly less spoilers and I read the whole series, apart from Midnight Sun? I will never reread Midnight Sun, sorry. But the main series all in one video with slightly less spoilers, and it will be a slightly longer video. Let me know. I think I'm leaning more towards one book per video. I think that will be really fun, and I can just witter away with all my thoughts, because I have a lot of thoughts regarding Twilight. But yeah, this is just the perfect book. As soon as September 1st hits, the movies are going to be on, and I'm just going to be living my best life. But I really want to reread them with you guys, so please let me know how you would like to see me reread them. If you're interested in it, I know I would be. I would love to see a YouTuber read Twilight with spoilers. I think that would be so fun. But yeah, let me know how you want me to do that, and any other videos you might want featuring the rest of these books that I have just spoken to you guys about. Let me know. I have a few video ideas, of course, regarding the autumn time, but you know, let me know if there's any more. But with that being said, that is my extensive autumn TBR. I probably won't be able to get through all of these books because there is a lot of them here, but I would love to get through as many as I possibly can because I'm so excited about all of them. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if there are any books on your autumn TBR down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you all in